Hi everyone, this is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel, Short Rest Manga. Some of you guys might have noticed that this video came up on Sunday instead of Saturday. I try to upload every Saturday, but yesterday I really wasn't feeling the best and I tried to record this video and I just looked pretty lifeless when I was going over the footage, so I wanted to wait a day and wait until I felt a little bit more like myself. So today is round 2 and I'm going to be telling you guys what I read this month in February. It's honestly kind of a blur. I don't remember what I've read in January and February. I'm gonna keep better track of what I read in March. So this is a little bit of both, I guess, and I'm just gonna tell you guys what I read and what I thought about it. Before I dive into the manga that I've read, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for 300 subscribers. It's a really cool milestone to hit, and I didn't expect to hit it this soon. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really enjoying interacting with you guys in the comments. It's probably one of my favorite parts of uploading on YouTube. So thank you guys so much, and I'm hoping to do more fun things at 500 if I'm able to hit it. I would like to do my first giveaway and things like that, maybe a Q&A and other interactive things with you guys to learn more about you. You can learn more about me. I just thought that'd be pretty fun, and yeah, so thanks for supporting me, and let's jump into the manga. So one thing I read this month in no particular order at all, I'm not that organized, is the first 3 volumes of Blue Flag. This series is amazing. I'm sure you've heard of it, if not from my previous videos, from other people on YouTube and maybe your friends seeing it in bookstores. It's just really popular right now. I think the art in the manga is really well done. I'll show you a little bit of the first volume, so no spoilers. It's a really interesting love triangle shoujo series, and I think this is probably one of the most modern day shoujos, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like this is like bringing romantic series into the 21st century, because I feel like a lot of older shoujos maybe can't be as relatable, but I feel like people really resonate more with Blue Flag and just the characters themselves. There's not one character that I am annoyed or I hate. I'm really rooting for everyone, which is hard because not everyone can always win. So definitely recommend this series if you guys haven't picked it up already or checked it out. I have really been enjoying it, and I recently got volumes 4 and 5. I haven't read them yet because I'm waiting for volume 6 to pick it up. I know it's out, I just haven't been able to get my hands on it, and I'm waiting for my March budget to kick in, sticking with my budget, and I'm hoping to get volume 6 sometime in March and then read 4, 5, and 6 all together, and then just waiting for 7 and 8 to come out and see how it wraps up. So really looking forward to that. Another series that I started was Sweat and Soap. I've read volumes 1 and volumes 2 this month, and I can say that it's a very good love series. It's definitely more of a yosei. I'm trying to learn more manga terms than just a shoujo. It's definitely a little bit more intimate in parts. I really like Asako as the main female lead. I think she's a really interesting character that a lot more people can relate to than maybe a freshman girl in high school, at least for me. I think her personality, her growth through the first volume and second volume is noticeable, and I'm excited to see how she grows in the rest of the volumes. Let me show you some art of, actually, my favorite character is Asako's manager in finance. I think he's a great side character, and I honestly, like, anytime he comes on the panel, I smile because I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's this guy gonna say? I've been really enjoying the series, and I recently picked up volume 5, so I just gotta catch up and read the next 3 volumes. But I definitely will, because I'm really enjoying it. Nope. No! Oh no! It's gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me. Ugh. So another thing that I read this month, I truly don't know if I read it in January or February. time has melted together. It means nothing to me anymore, so I wanted to include it just because I really liked it, and I don't think I've talked about it. I think I've talked about it on my Instagram, but not on my YouTube channel, so I wanted to mention Spy X Family. This is a great series. Again, it's pretty popular. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's about a spy who needs to make a fake family to complete a mission, and it's just really great. I just binged the first 2 together, and then I immediately had to go find the third, and it's really interesting. It's a manga that I think a lot of people would agree with me in saying that no matter if you're just starting or you've read manga for like 20 years, I think it's so accessible to everybody. It has a little bit of everything between possibly budding romance, really funny interactions, action, of course, and yeah, it's great. I've pre-ordered the 4th volume, and I've never pre-ordered anything, and I think that's because I'm so, like, if I really want to read it, I think I would much rather be able to go pick it up the day it comes out than risk like it getting lost in the mail or damaged. So oh, let me find some art to show you. There's too many spoilers, and I'd really try not to show spoilers. I'm like a big advocate for, if you think it could possibly be a spoiler, just don't share it. So let me find, this is pretty funny. This is some of the art if you guys haven't seen it already. But I highly recommend this to really anyone. I think no matter what you're into, you're gonna enjoy Spy Family, but I could be horribly wrong. Another thing I read this month is something I finally got my hands on because it's been out of stock. I saw it come back into stock on Amazon, so I picked it up, and that is the 1st volume of Jujutsu Kaizen. I really like it. No surprise, it's really highly acclaimed. It's a great shonen. It's definitely a lot of action. I haven't read past volume 1. I only have volume 1 because it's been pretty hard to find in stock volumes of this. But I'm going to get more. That's my plan for March, and I am not going to be paying a ridiculous amount of money for it. I know people are trying to get a lot of money for this series, and volumes that are out of stock right now. Out of stock and out of print are different. There will be much more of these. So I'm just gonna hold out and wait and see when they come back in stock. And I can always start the anime in the meantime, which I think I want to read it first and then watch the anime to kind of compare them. But yeah, I'm really excited to get more of this. Let me show you some art if you guys haven't seen it already. Definitely a lot of good action scenes. I feel like there's going to be a lot more. I think Mappa is doing the animation, I think. So I have high hopes to watch the anime, and I already hear really great things, so I'm excited to keep reading and start watching. This next series is not a surprise to anyone if you've been watching my channel. It is Tomo-chan is a Girl, 1 through 8. I read the whole series. I completely binged it. Tore a little bit into my budget for March for manga because I just was hooked. There was a lot of funny cliffhangers. I wanted to know what happened. And with the volumes being so small as they are, here I can show you. If you guys haven't seen it already, I can show you some art. It's a panel manga. Romantic comedy. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's like definitely in the top 3 of my favorite romantic comedies right now. It's really funny. The art is simple but very well done. Ooh. Let's see if I can show all the covers really quick because I know I've talked about it before. So yeah, you guys know I recommend this. I loved it and glad to have it in my collection. Check it out if you can. Be more responsible than I was buying them all pretty much at once. I think I got them within a few weeks of each other because I was just really hooked on the series. So this was a great read, and it really makes me want to check out series like Homie Can't Communicate. I was a little hesitant on it because there's 11 to 12 volumes. I'm not sure what it's going to go to, if it's still ongoing or if there's an end in sight for that series. But I think I might have to check it out now after enjoying Tomo so much. The next thing I read this month is, I think actually this month I started a bunch of series. Yeah. I think every volume is me starting a series. I'm definitely forgetting something then. I don't know what it is, but maybe I'll put it here if I remember. So this is a series I picked up and started reading because a lot of people in the manga community, they were really hyping it up, and a lot of people were adding it to their collections and enjoying it, and it seemed like a really cool shonen to get into, and that is Ajin. Volumes 1 I read, and I read volume 2. It's more of a, I don't know if it's considered a shonen, maybe a psychological horror? Well, I wouldn't call it such a psychological, probably like a shonen action. I don't know if I would consider it horror. Is it considered horror? Tell me. The art is really, really cool. I was really impressed with it. Let's see if I can find, well, maybe I shouldn't show. Here's just some little bit of action. I don't want to show too much blood and gore. There definitely is some of that in this series. I'm not sure how prevalent. I feel like there will be a lot of fighting and blood and death in this series. So if any of that turns you off, this probably isn't for you. Along with a lot of people, I think, yeah, also the covers are just really cool and they look really nice on the shelf. They are a little bit thin and slim, but for like $13.99. I have liked it. I have volume 3. I haven't read it yet. The art is beautiful, the story is interesting, but for me, I haven't like gotten attached to one of the characters yet, and that really drives my want to continue a series, because if I don't care what happens to any of them, then I kind of lose interest. So I'm hoping in volume 3, I kind of get grabbed into the story a little bit more. I want to keep reading it. I like the premise and everything, but I hope there's some development or something that kind of pulls me into the characters a little bit more. So I'm gonna read volume 3 and see what I think, but it's good. Another series that I started this month is Ascendance of a Bookworm. I'll do anything to become a librarian. I believe it's a light novel that they made into a manga series, so because it's a little, how it's released is a little strange. It's like part 1, volume 1. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but this is what they do. They do this. Can you see it? They, other people on YouTube. But I really liked it. I was really surprised about how much I liked it. I also read volume 2. Well, I guess it's part 1. Both of these are part 1, volume 1 and 2. So it's kind of strange how they break it up, but honestly, they could probably put them together to make a little bit of a bigger volume. But it's very cute, it's very interesting. It's about a girl named Urano, and she is a college girl in like the normal world, and she loves books, reads books all the time. She's about it, it's her thing. And one day there's an earthquake and she is crushed to death by her books falling from her bookshelf. It falls on top of her. It's isekai, so as she is dying, she asks God, please let me be born into a world where I can read books as much as I want. And she is reincarnated into this girl. I'm not gonna say her name right, I don't think. It's spelled M-Y-N-E, but I've been calling her Mai. I've just forgotten the end of her name. So I'm gonna refer to her as Mai. But she is reincarnated into this very sickly girl, I think. So she goes from being college age, so maybe she's like 22, 23, and she is reincarnated into a 5-year-old sickly poor girl's body. And it's a fantasy land, I think, just like back in time, probably like the 1800s-ish in Japan, and their family like doesn't have electricity. She searches the house for books. She doesn't have any books, and she finds out that books are pretty rare and very expensive, and really only for nobles. It's in a time where books were still handwritten there was no like mass production. You have to handwrite books, and paper and parchment were so expensive. So It's her journey of figuring out how she can make books being poor and make them more accessible. She's got to learn to read and write because this isn't Japan anymore. The language is completely different. And so and on top of that, she's trying to get used to living with her new family. So, and being in a 5-year-old's body who gets fevers a lot, and she's very sickly. So there's like challenge upon challenge upon challenge. So it's really interesting to see her navigate this new world and interact with her family. And it's really cool to see her bring her past life knowledge into this world and try to help in any way she can, because being so sickly, she isn't able to help with physical labor, which is, you know, generally what that they need to help like prepare for winter and things like that. So it's really good. I really like the characters, and I'm excited to see how the story develops. I do have a favorite character, kind of. It's one of the guardsmen that she is learning from, named Otto, and I just have this like feeling in my stomach that something bad might happen to him. There's no, it's not a spoiler or anything, but like in the first 2 volumes, there's nothing to like infer that, but I just have this haunting feeling. I was like, please let this man just live a happy life and nothing bad happened to him. So I'm excited to see what happens next. I'll definitely be picking up more of this, and if you guys like this kind of story or isekai, I definitely recommend checking this out, because I'll definitely be picking up more of it. So the next volume I read in February is the Apothecary Diaries, Volume 1. I really enjoyed this. I pretty much binged through the whole first volume, and I have to say it definitely lived up to the hype that I was hearing about it. I heard about it from Shay Geeks Out. She did a video about where she tried volumes 1 of 10 different series, and this was one of them, and she was really excited about it, so I wanted to pick it up, and I did, and the art is beautiful. The story is very interesting and engaging. I find the characters to be full of life. Like, you know, sometimes there's characters that kind of are just there to be a side character, but I felt like anytime someone was in a page or in a scene, I felt like they were just as important as, you know, the main characters. So I thought that was pretty cool. Here's some of the art. It follows our main girl named, I hope I say her name right, I think it's Mao, M-A-O-M-A-O. Let me know if I'm wrong. I probably am, but that's how I've been pronouncing her name. And she is trained as an apothecary. She is kidnapped. She lives in the country. She's kidnapped by men and sold to the inner palace to work as a maid for little to no money. And the men that bring her get part of, you know, her wage because they were able to like provide help to the palace. And it's a historical manga. I believe it takes place back in time. I don't know what era this would be, but the main character, Mao, she is really cool. She is very like intuitive, and she's smart, a little bit sassy, and she's a very great, I think, main character. There is possibly a love interest with this guy on the back, Jinshi. We don't really know too much about him yet. He is working for, I think, the Emperor? He's working for somebody higher up. How it's kind of laid out, I'm really bad at explaining this, but there's just like a hierarchy. There's an emperor, and then he has like in the inner palace where all his ladies are, his consorts, and he's got favorites, and it's really interesting world they set up. I honestly just recommend checking out the first few pages online. You'll get a much better sense of me telling you about it, but I really like this series. The only thing I haven't liked so far is that the first volume really didn't end on a cliffhanger. It kind of felt like wrapped up, and I found that odd, but other than that, it was really my only complaint. But luckily I have the second volume. I haven't started it yet because I don't think the third volume of this series is supposed to come out until like September of this year, so that's a long time. So I don't know if I'm gonna save it to like cherish the memories of like, oh, I have something to look forward to in this series until September, but I'll probably cave and read it pretty soon. And yeah, because I'm really enjoying it, and I really want to see where the story goes. So yeah, I really enjoyed this read. we're getting down to the last couple volumes. This is another series that I just recently got that I wanted to read right away because I haven't been able to find it in stock, and finally got my alert from Right Stuff, so I got it, got it delivered, and that is the first volume of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and its art just like encapsulated me. I'm sure you guys have seen this cover and heard about this series. Let me definitely show you some of the art, because that was the biggest draw for me, is the interesting character design. And it's just really, really well done. I enjoyed looking at every single page because even just like the blank panels with the characters' faces are still so detailed. It's really cool. While I thought the characters were interesting, I think that the plot is also interesting in how our main girl, Yashiro, and Hanako-kun kind of meet and are bound together by a curse. And I don't want to say too much, but it's all within the first volume. And that Hanako-kun is a spirit, and he's bound to the school, and there's 7 different hauntings, or I think they're called supernaturals, in the school. So learning more about them and their mysteries and kind of like the cutesy occult vibe is probably the best way to describe like the art and theme. But the only negative thing that I had is that I like the characters, but I haven't been pulled in yet, I think, to the story. Kind of like Ajin is like, I love what's going on and I see what you're doing, but for some reason it hasn't like hooked me. So it did leave off on a cliffhanger, and I have the second volume. But to me, I don't know, it wasn't too much of a cliffhanger. I could kind of predict what was going to happen. And I like it. I'm going to keep reading it. I'm hoping like volume 2 will kind of make the connections a little bit more clear and kind of pull me into the characters a little bit more. But I really liked it, and I'm excited for volume 2. And I'll see from there. Maybe it's kind of like Ajin. If I'm not really pulled in, then maybe I'll wait for like a summer sale or something where I can get a really good deal on it before collecting more. So the last thing that I read this month is the one-shot of Secretly I've Been Suffering About Being Sexless. It's really good. You know, I didn't know too much about it going into it. Let me show you some art from it, because I really did like the art style. It's a little simple, but it really works for the story, and I think it doesn't distract from the dialogue and what the author Togame is trying to get across. That's another really cool thing about this volume, is that Togame is the author, but she's also the main character, so she's telling a story from her own perspective, which I think gives a little bit more power behind the message, you know, because it's something so personal and she's letting us into her life to really discuss a problem of intimacy within her relationship and how she kind of combated it and dealt with it, some right ways, some wrong ways, as she explains, and at least that, you know, she thinks are right and wrong. And it's really good. I definitely got a little bit emotional at the end. I think, again, because it's like, it's not just a made-up story for someone, it's like their real life. So I thought it was pretty powerful, and I really recommend it if you guys are interested in something like this. It's just a one-shot. I think it's based off of a web novel or a web cartoon that she had done, and it finally came into like a manga form. So yeah, I was really happy with this read, and I'm not sure if she has any other works, but if she does, I'm definitely going to look into it and see if I can check them out. Okay guys, so that's everything that I read this month. I think, like I said before, I'm going to do a little better at actually writing down and remembering what I read throughout the month, and I really want to prioritize reading what I have right now. I think I have a good balance of read and unread in my collection, but with summer coming, and I keep talking about this summer sale, I still don't really know what it is. I've heard people talk about it, I think in the past from videos. I think Right Stuff might have a sale, and I think other bookstores have discounts and stuff, so I think I'm going to try to save up some money and budget a little bit more tightly, so when summer comes I can kind of buy large amounts of manga at a really discounted price to try to get more bang for my buck. And I want to use this time in March and April to like really read through what I have and figure out what I want to keep reading and what I'm just gonna maybe put on hold, not necessarily sell, and other things that just like, hey, you know, this wasn't for me, I'm gonna try to sell it. But that's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot for your continued support, coming back and leaving those comments and interacting and saying hi. It's probably one of the most fun parts about doing this. And yeah, let me know what you guys have read this month, and if you read anything that I've read, let me know. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye guys!